Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Avini Vibes. Today is Thursday, 9/26, September 26th. Wow, we're almost at the end of the month already. And it was a beautiful month, and weather's changing. So we are grateful that we have change in our lives, change in our seasons, change in each of and every one of us here. By tonight, you'll be changed, I promise. You'll learn something new. We're here at Avini Vibes to share, to educate, to listen, to learn, encourage, to lift one another up. Carol is not with us tonight, as I said. Carol's in the midst of a tornado hurricane down in Florida, so she sends her regard. Keep her in your thoughts and your prayers. 85 miles an hour wind, so it's going on right now for her as we speak. And I just wanted to let you know tonight, we also do not make any medical claims. We don't diagnose. Again, we're here to hear some testimonials, and we don't call disease by name because we are not particularly going to talk about a disease. We're going to talk about testimonials and things that you want to know and learn. We have Dr. Nekita in the house tonight. Dr. Nekita,
Hello.
welcome. Welcome.
Hi.
We're grateful that you're here. And I thought maybe tonight, I know you and I talked today, and you're a little bit under the weather yourself. And
Just a little bit.
so we're gonna, we won't drag this out tonight, but we want to hear from you for sure. We want to hear a little bit about what you have to share with us tonight, if you would. I think we
Okay.
had some questions this week about receptor sites with plus relief. So I know Chip is heard Chip speak this week about it. So if we can kind of touch on plus relief would be awesome. So welcome, Dr. Nikita. Welcome, Chip.
Hi. Hello, you guys. I'll speak a little bit about about Avini Plus Relief and what it's about and how we came up with it or how it was produced, and a little bit about the receptors. And I think Chip probably can handle a little bit about how the interactions with the nicotinic receptors and how that works a little bit. So one of the things I wanted to say is it's a mouthful a little bit, but Avini Plus Relief is an all-natural homeopathic analgesic pain reliever and anti-inflammatory product. Like that's a mouthful, but it's like essentially everything the product is, right? And how did this come about? It came about because our chief scientific officer, Rich Dice, he's amazing. And he's committed to like people having healthy lives, living healthy and feeling well. And he had this question, like, what is the chief complaint people have is pain, right? And so he asked questions and did some research and experiments, and he created this amazing pain therapy. Now, how does this pain therapy work? Well, it works because of a venom from an Asian cobra. And yes, a bite from a cobra can leave you with like many physiological changes. However, Rick discovered that like if you had 1/10,000th of diluted parcels of a venom, you could have therapeutic effects instead of a toxic effect, right? And so then we want to talk about what is this venom? What's in it that's having us feel this relief, right? And so the venom is the cobra venom is literally a neurotoxin, and it binds to the nerves in our body. Now the venom itself is made of these small peptides, and these small peptide proteins they come into our system and they flow through our body and they bind to receptors there. And what these receptors do is they modulate things in our body, and a lot of things is pain, right? Um, the receptors that pain work through in our body are called the specific receptors are called alpha seven subtype, and it's a subtype of nicotinic acetylcholine receptors. Mouthful, but all it is pain receptors in our body in specific areas. Specific areas meaning that they're in our central nervous system and they're on our white blood cells. Okay. Now, these pain that we have in our body, what these peptides do from the venom is it modifies the pain signal that we feel, right? So it modifies the pain signal and it's very efficient at blocking inflammation. And the reason why it's blocking inflammation is because it's modifying those white blood cells. Okay. Now, what does that mean for us? For instance, if I have pain, what does that mean? When I take this product, what does it mean for me? It means if you have a big pain, that when you take this product, that big pain becomes a small signal, like a small signal. So something that fires often, like a pain that hurts often, it becomes duller. And it doesn't take away all the way. Like if it's a severe pain, you don't want to walk around on a severe pain or a break or something and not feel the break, right? So these pain receptors dull it, so it's not the peptides like dull the pain so the signal is not strong, right? Now, because what's amazing about this is that when these peptides touch our receptors are not familiar with this cobra venom, right? And so they have to switch and move a little bit to accommodate this peptide. And when they do that, um, it's called what is it called? What's it called? What is it? What's the name of it, real quick, Chip? What is it called?
I think he called it an adaptive response.
It's adaptive response, and 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 so anyway, so we have this adaptive response. So I love that about it. And the one amazing thing about this peptide bond is that it's yes, it's not a perfect fit, but each because it goes and it comes in and it touches the receptors, it comes in contact with the receptors and it changes the shape and when it changes, oh, I remember, it's like a fast or immediate change, right? And they call it induced fit. Yes, induced fit. So our receptor said a reduced fit. So it changes a little bit, but not fast, right? It's not a quick reaction. So over time, having these peptides in your body, they slowly, your receptors get easily, they like almost like in love with the venom. So it's like, oh, I like you, come in, so it like changes like faster and smoother. And what's amazing is that normally in the medical community and dealing with pharmaceuticals, normally when we're talking about pain medicine, over time people become desensitized to the medicine. They have to take more of the medicine for it to even work well, right? But what's amazing about this, the cobra venom, is that once our body recognizes that, oh, this is good, the more you use it, the when you use it a lot in the beginning, your receptors become so sensitive that you need less and less of the product, which is unheard of. I think unheard of. And what's amazing is that it's come we he produced it in different forms. So we have a topical one, we have a spray one, and like the spray one, you can spray it in your mouth and it gets absorbed through your buccal mucosa, and that's like your mouth mucosa because it's very the cells there grow a lot very rapidly and it's very absorbent, right? And so it goes into your bloodstream, it goes to your body, and it goes through your digestive tracts, and you can get healed feel relief from pain that way, right? Usually we say take it 5 days, just to get used to the receptors' sensitivity to the venom. And once they do that, you can use less and less, and you'll have the same therapeutic value, right? On top of that is that yes, we're having less pain, but because these receptors that modulate pain is also on our white blood cells, which is amazing, right? Now, this is something I had to research later because I was like, why is my mom loves the product, by the way. I hope she's online so she can tell you some of her stories. But once you have the the venom, the pain relief, she was having some side effects where she was feeling better, like no pain, but she can get up and move, and she wasn't tight in other places. And when I researched, I realized, I heard them say it was anti-inflammatories, but doing the research, we can see that the white blood cells are the inflammation, they're part of the inflammation cascade in our body. So if we're inflamed, if we're traveling long distances and sitting a long time and we get water retention or something in our knees, or if we work out strenuously and our muscles get, all of that are cause for inflammation in those areas. It's part of the body's natural process in healing, as well as identifying areas of pain to send, the little soldiers in to fix it. But sometimes those areas are tight. They're like your wrist or your elbow or your knee, where there's not a lot of space for that water or fluid to move. And so those areas they hurt, right? And so having a product that both acts as a pain reliever as well as anti-inflammatory. And just amazing, right? And then on top of it, they realized that in their research that having receptors in our central nervous system and those white blood cells, it also affects the different parts of our brain because we have those same receptors in our brain. And one particular area that is our perivesicular thalamic nucleus. Long mouthful, but it's a little part in our brain that regulates pain and other things. And so one of the things that we want to make sure you know is that yes, we have the spray, but you also have a topical, and you can put the topical on those areas in your body where you don't have a lot of like meaty areas, like your wrists and your knees, and the place where you don't have a lot of muscle or blood, tissue. And it's recommended that you take them. Uh, and when you take the topical, it works in about 20 minutes, and it lasts about 4 to 6 hours. Yeah. Um, Now, one of the other things is remember that it's non-opioid, it's non-narcotic, and you have almost virtually no side effects, like in other pain therapies, right? And the beautiful thing I love about it is that when my son or I take it, I don't have to deal with heat. I don't have to deal with any cold. I don't have to deal with any smell. Like the product is, is like, I mean, it's like the perfect world, right? So that's basically what I wanted to cover tonight, and I also wanted to say thank you for having me. But I hope my mom is on so she can give her testimony on her experiences around having this as a part of her arsenal. And I want Chip to chip in on anything I've missed, especially around
So, Chip,
that would be of value.
want to start off, Chip, and then we'll go to Novella.
Sure. Um, I loved the list of things that aren't part of this that, maybe you wouldn't want. I mean, the hot and cold and smell thing, maybe you could put up with that, but the possibility of addiction, overdose, numbing the rest of the nerves, putting your bowels to sleep, hurting your organs. I mean, that's typically what we get with things that can deal with discomfort at the level that this functions. And it's able to go even to deep visceral pain, things like pancreatic, that kind of thing. This product has the ability to do that. You do need to think ahead a little bit and build it up. So, and I do, I was trying to think, when I was listening to Dr. Nekita last week and again this week, everybody loved listening to her, right? So do you notice how, as she's talking to us, there's a familiarity with what she's speaking about and kind of conversational, but she also has some details. She has a great style in the way that she presents, I think, and everybody really responded to that right away last week. And part of it is kind of a conversational familiarity. I think if I was trying to describe her style of presenting. So I wrote for several hours during the night and made posts in Inner Circle today on this topic. I don't know if anybody looked in Inner Circle today, but I wrote quite a few details about this product in Inner Circle, partly because somebody asked, but also partly because Christine said we were going to spend some time on it tonight. And I think Dr. Nekita Warren gave us some great, details and covered the whole topic really well. But there's some additional things that we could maybe highlight also. And for example, just to have people understand it right away, information coming down a nerve is electrical, right? But the switches are chemical. In that chemical switch is where Rick finds the opportunity to modulate the message. And the term is modulate. We want a proper response, not an angry response, not a muted or weakened response. We want a proper response of the of the message that's going through that synapse. And the words that come with the receptor site. When you were in school, you probably learned that a synapse, acetylcholine, is the chemical that closes the switch. The enzyme that goes with it opens the switch. And the letters ASE on the end means enzyme. So acetylcholinesterase is the enzyme that opens the switch. So just so you know more about that than you think you do, because everybody knows that in the Amazon, the pygmies take their darts and they find those brightly colored frogs, and they touch the tip of their dart on that skin of that frog, because on the skin of the frog is an acetylcholinesterase inhibitor. So it doesn't let the enzyme work in the little bird when it shoots the bird with the dart. That means that when the switch closes, then the enzyme can't open it again. So what that means is when the muscle contracts, it can't release again. And the way that the bird dies is suffocation, because it can't relax. All the muscles squeeze at once. And interestingly enough, quite a few of the pesticides that are used in agriculture today work that same way. Give you an idea how powerful that is. One of the chemicals that I worked with in sugar beets, for example, called Temic, we would put on a couple of ounces per acre. 5 or 6 weeks later, a bug would come by, eat a leaf, and die because of the amount of acetylcholinesterase inhibitor that they got. And the way that their bodies breathe is their abdomen. We're flexible, but if you look at them, they're in segments, and they breathe by expanding and contracting, and the gases permeate through their skin. And so those are just kind of cool details. I like to give you a couple of cool details so you're armed if somebody asks you a question. And so most everybody who's gone through some anatomy classes and studied the nervous system is going to know acetylcholine and acetylcholinesterase work in a synapse. What they won't know is that there's some additional detail that goes with that. So you probably know if you're picking up a bowling ball, your hand's going to work different than if you're picking up a beach ball. So that detail about what you're receiving, or the information you're passing down the message, it's not just a switch either closed or open. There has to be some more detail than that, right? And Rick highlighted that in one of his presentations. It's actually sodium ions passing from one side, and that is actually what's going through that receptor, that alpha-7 receptor that Dr. Warren spoke about a moment ago. And the number of those that are able to go through. So the product is a 78 amino acid chain, which is a small protein or a large peptide. 78 amino acids is a small protein or a large peptide. And it goes in there to that spot, and it slightly changes the shape of the receptor. So what we were looking for a little bit ago, when Dr. Nekita and I were talking, the adaptive response is it changes the shape of it slightly. Actually, that's the induced fit, but then it sticks. Over time, it holds that shape a little bit. Then that's the adaptive response. The induced fit is the instant effect of having the plus relief active ingredient go to that site. And then the fact that it gradually holds that shape a little bit longer over time is the induced fit. So it improves in function over the first 10 days or 2 weeks of use. And if you stop using it, it will also be gradual in giving up its effect, because that shape will still be there and you'll still benefit for a while after stopping use of the product. So it's not take it now and you've got 2, 4, 6, 12, or 24 hours of effect. It's take it now, and yes, you do have a period of effect, but that lingers a little bit. I think this is really cool too, you guys, because most everything that you would take for a prescription for misery, we just listed off a bunch of the stuff, you know, hot, cold smell, addiction overdose, putting your bowels to sleep, numbing everything. Well, that numbing everything part, you don't really want to give up some of your function if you don't have to. I mean, almost everybody does. They give up some of their neurological function, some of their clarity, some of their crispness, maybe some of their fine motor skills, maybe some short term memory to get rid of the misery. Here we don't, because the way the product works is a little bit like adjusting. Remember the old rabbit ears? I know who I'm talking to here. All you guys have grabbed rabbit ears and brought a TV channel in. You take the static out, and whatever picture you do have is clearer. And this product essentially takes the static out of the message coming down the nerve. So the useful messages come through without static and they're clearer. So we hear about people who were numb or were somehow impaired, and now they can sense things that they wanted to sense. Maybe the sense of smell returns with Avini products. Sense of hearing clears up. Taste comes back. A whole part of the body that was maybe numb begins to feel again. Avini products have many mechanisms to achieve that. Some of them are included in the Plus Relief product. The product, people ask, is the product FDA approved? And the proper terminology, because it's a homeopathic drug, is it is registered as a homeopathic drug. There's two ways that a drug can be homeopathic. One of them is that it's essentially the vibration of it that's carried through, and that's a homeopathic drug. The other one is that it's a very small concentration of the active ingredient that creates the effect. And both of those are at play in Avini Plus Relief being registered as a homeopathic drug. It does have, size, shape, charge, vibration, frequency, all of those factors. It is a 1/10,000th dilution, as Dr. Nekita highlighted, by weight. So people always ask this thing with morphine, when you're comparing it to morphine, it actually can do things that morphine cannot do, like that deep visceral misery thing. But by weight, the active ingredient in our Plus Relief product is 600 times more powerful than the active ingredient in morphine. That's the proper way to say it. So it's by weight. Okay. It's kind of like what's heavier, a pound of lead or a pound of feathers. It's a little bit like that because it's a by weight term. It takes such a small amount to get the effect that we're looking for.
Chip, can you repeat that? I have somebody asking you to repeat that. 600 times more potent, powerful. What? One more time,
Yep.
please.
By weight, the active ingredient in Plus Relief is 600 times more powerful than the active ingredient in morphine. And it is a single active ingredient product with multiple mechanisms. Look at Cell Defender, single active ingredient product, multiple mechanisms. Avini Nano Silver, single active ingredient, multiple mechanisms. Avini Plus Relief. Those are three spectacular examples. The product is so simple, but the effects are ubiquitous throughout our entire function. I think it's crazy that we got three of those, right? I mean, it's kind of simple. You don't have to go through 50 different ingredients like in some of our other products, for example. What you got, Alan? Alan's raising his hand.
Excuse me, Chip, you said.
No, you went back. There you are.
You said three, of course, Plus Relief and Nano Silver. What was the third one?
It is the one that has only detoxolide in it.
Excuse me, but I thought you were talking about three of our products. Am I mistaken?
Three of our products have a single active ingredient. So it would be Avini Cell Defender has detoxolite. Avini Nano Silver has the micronized 200 atoms of silver in a ball. And Plus Relief has the alpha cobra toxin diluted 1/10,000. he was actually working with alpha toxin to start with, which is from snails. That's what he was studying at Duke University. But it took so much effort to get such a tiny amount. The cobras were much more generous. Another cool detail, and I like knowing a couple of cool details on the hood of our snail. It's called the Asian monocled cobra. So it looks like one eye or a monocle on the hood if you're looking at the back of a cobra. Why do they have an eye on their hood? So that a predator thinks it's looking at them. Most cobras have both eyes on their hood. Ours is the one with the single one. The Asian monocled cobra is the one that we have. And there's 300 of them at a reptile garden. And we don't own the cobras. We do own the rights, the exclusive rights to use them and milk them and use them in this product. So we have control of the source of the active ingredient. Don't you find it interesting that some companies try to say, oh, I've got the same thing as your zeolite, because they can buy zeolite for about, it costs like $900 a ton now in its raw form. And they'll put a little bit of that in a bottle and say, I got the same thing. Well, they don't have the nerve to go get them a bunch of cobras and try to claim that they're making plus relief, do they? That's too much work. That's too much thinking. It kind of, to me, quickly highlights the difference between Avini and brand X. My mom always used to say, seems like every time I get something, it's brand X. Well, if you get Avini, you didn't get brand X. You got the good stuff, right? So anyway, let me look real quick, see if there's anything
Thank
else I
you,
want to.
Chip. We have another question. Jane, go ahead.
So my first question is about the homeopathic portion of the program. So actually, I want to go back to what you said about the two ways that it's transported, where because you move so quickly. So the information, so it's electrical, and then what's the second portion? Because of water, it's being carried through water.
Okay, just a second. That's a message coming down a nerve.
Yep.
So the message coming down a nerve is a little tiny electrical message. We run on like 0.02 millivolts, you guys. Your car runs, the operating system for your car is 12 volts, and the wires in there. But the switches in your car are usually a mechanical switch or an electrical switch. The switch that allows something to go on is a chemical switch, and that's called a synapse. A chemical switch in the nervous system is a synapse. It's basically on or off, but then the details are done by that receptor. How many sodium ions go through that receptor?
Okay, that's really fascinating.
That makes sense that time?
Total sense.
And I want to let you know that we are recording this. So if you miss something, you can always go back to Avini Health Training and get it and replay it, okay?
Okay.
Hey, Chip,
The second
Yeah.
question.
Chip.
Oh, wait.
The two things that make it homeopathic is the energy as well as the single active ingredient. Is that what it is?
Right. There's two ways that a product can be designated as a homeopathic product. If you've ever been around a homeopathic practitioner, essentially they'll put the vibration or the frequency, the resonance of a substance into the treatment. And that's considered a homeopathic product that just has the vibration or the resonance. Here, there's actually the substance of the cobra venom in the product, but it's such a small amount. In order for it to be homeopathic, it has to be a small amount. So since we're a 1/10,000th dilution, it qualifies to be a homeopathic product. It is registered with the government as a homeopathic product. So it would have both the vibration and the actual substance in the product. Is there anybody on here who's a homeopathic practitioner by chance? A lot of them come. I mean, think about the people that come here to Avini. I always say it comes from smart and it attracts smart. And you name it, you're going to have a bunch of very, very interesting people that are attracted to something like this.
Jane, did you have a second question?
Yeah, it's tied to the homeopathic part. So because I have homeopathics in my quantum indigo device, and I know that there's a lot of there's going to be questions because venom comes up. It's in the constellation too within the device. So that's a longer conversation. But the thing about this that I think is interesting when we're talking to people about this is it goes back to the natural ability of the body to absorb this in the way the adaptation response of the body to take this in. And each body is going to do that. So people don't have to be concerned about this. And then how the body actually, I don't know if triggers is the word, but it enhances the body's natural ability to make best use of this, right? So there's that portion of the program that I think, because a lot of the general public doesn't understand the homeopathics and how unbelievable homeopathics really, can be over the long period of time for wellness, for that long-term benefit. Which is so different than what you were describing as pain management, where we in Western civilization, we just want to take something and we want to numb the heck out of it, right? This is a whole different approach to working with pain. So
So
that
throughout the product line, the question has to be answered yes. Does this product help you to help you? If it risks something or it hurts you to help you, it's not an Avini product. Then you have to have a doctor, a diagnosis, a prescription, a pharmacist, a medical device. Why is all that there? It's to protect you from the possible ill effects of the prescription. Here, we are a loosely knit band of network marketers representing these things. If it could hurt you, we'd be in trouble within the first week. It has to help you to help you. Avini is the lifetime of answers to that question. How can we help you to help you by a genius inventor, Rick Deitch, and
Chip,
everything he can find in the marketplace.
you mentioned something on one of the 11 o'clock calls, say the part of healthcare where I don't take care of others. You mentioned something about that. Better than that, I take that you're empowering them to take care of themselves. I thought that was so
I was
magnificent.
kind of messing with people a little
I loved
bit,
it.
because a guy asked me, what do you do? And I started in with the genius biochemist thing, and he was a doctor, and I wanted him to ask me another question, and he didn't. So overnight, I thought, okay, how can I do that different that would make him answer? And I'd say, well, I'm in healthcare, but I'm in the part of healthcare where we don't care about other people, right? That kind of shocks you, right? Like, because don't all healthcare people care about other people? No, all we do is reveal to them how they could take better care of themselves. That's the part we're in.
I
So
thought you did a brilliant
you
job
get
at
that little
that.
distinction. I thought it was fun to play with and see if maybe it would cause because you need them to keep asking you. So you don't want them to ask you once and think they know what you're doing. Yeah, I'm in the part of healthcare where we don't actually care about other people. Huh?
That was a
Get them to,
reticular activator, and he actually listened, right? Paid attention.
well, I didn't think of it at the moment. I worked on it all night, and since I talked to him, and I'll be around him again, and I will apologize to him. I answered the question you asked what I do, and I have to tell you guys, and this is kind of a fun little thing. And once again, I hope I know who I'm talking to. Does anybody remember the ladies' undergarment company called Maidenform?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
My buddies think I represent Maidenform. Do you know what the little slogan for Maidenform was? No visible means of support. They have no idea how I could make a living doing what I'm doing. They see me answering the phone all the time. No visible means of support.
Oh boy, I love it. All right. All
Great.
right. So
Can I ask one
Novella,
other quick
Novella,
thing?
we're
I'm
going to let
sorry.
Novella have a couple words here. We wanted to hear her testimonial or a comment. Novella, your daughter called on you earlier. Are you up to chat?
Yeah, I know she called on me. She she talked about my little arsenal. It's just what I carry around. I carry the squirt bottle of the plus relief, and then I carry my silver, and I have my cell defender. I mean, I'm gonna always have those things, right? Today I had a cough from someplace, and And I was thinking to myself, what am I coughing? Why am I coughing? And it felt like there was this little niggle over here in my throat. And of course, I opened up and I sprayed back there real good with my cell defender. Gone. And then I also squirted in my nose a little bit, just to make sure if there's anything in there. So I squirted my nose. I'm good to go. And but something that I learned about the plus relief. Now, so at the conference, Rick had said that you don't have to put, like, some people, they take it, and when they get like a some kind of ointment or whatever, they take it and rub it all over the whole spot. And he said you didn't have to do that. He said that like you don't have to like soak it down, but he said you can just rub it on there. So what I had started doing was I had a pain in my leg. And so at first, like the first couple of days, I rubbed it all over. And then I just started putting the S on there, just like a S. I just put a S on there, and it was interesting. It was like he said, is I didn't have to put it all over it. Um, I have a roommate, and she fell and she hurt herself. Oh, something else that I noticed, I noticed all these things. I used to fall, and it was very difficult for me to get up. And one of the things that I've noticed is that I was on a cruise, and my girlfriend fell and pulled me with her. And to this day, I don't know how I got up, but I like popped back up just like that. I wasn't, doing all of this stuff. So that's another thing, I don't know if it's my agility or what, but I haven't fallen. I mean, I was doing that for a bit, but my roommate, she fell and she hurt herself, and she hurt her rib. And this is something that I wanted to ask too, because I have another friend. What happened was, they put this, and I'm like all for, you need to use that. You better go get you some. And so they use it, but they say they didn't have any result, right? Now, here's my thinking, because this is what happened with me. My thinking is that because it doesn't, like, unless you've had this chronic pain that you're so used to, and when it dulls that pain, is you notice it immediately, so it's like, oh my God. But when it's something that's, say, like, it only hurts when you get up, or it only hurts when you move, well, when you put that plus relief on there, you don't notice it, because our products are so subtle. They just make you feel normal. So she can't say that, oh, this wonderful thing happened, because she wasn't noticing it. And then she said, well, I let her use some of my my product. And then she said, well, I don't know if I felt anything. And so she went around that day. She was fine. I didn't say anything. And then I told her, I said, well, what do you think? Do you think would like to get? She said, well, I really don't. Well, you can put it back on me, and, I'll see what, you know, I put it on her again, and I noticed that she wasn't saying anything. But people, it's just so natural. It doesn't do something shocking unless, of course, you've been, having that pain. And so then later, and so I was just like, I'm not putting no more of my stuff on you now. That stuff $55 a bottle. If you don't think it's nothing, then fine. So she's been walking around like, oh, this really hurts. I'm like, well, I mean, if you really want to, get it and try it, I don't know if, that's a lot of money to spend to, just to try. I mean, I'm not giving it away free for you to tell me it ain't working, okay? I'm selfish. I'm taking care of me. But and I also have sciatic nerve. And I also know I don't really use it for my sciatic nerve, because it only happens occasionally, and it's like I can't, it's like I'm not gonna run and go get it and put it on, so I'll deal with that pain. But like, I don't know if you guys could say something about that, about why it feels like it works for some people. Some people say it doesn't, but no, I
Well,
don't.
Well,
I want to apologize, but being that we don't have our guru here tonight, we're going to time out. So we got about 13, not even 13, 10 minutes left on my timer. So, Dr. Nikita, go ahead, and then Chip, why don't you go ahead and close us out? All right. And then
okay.
we'll have this recorded, okay? So it will be up in the back office.
Okay, well, one of the things is we as human beings are conditioned with pain. You know, we learn with pain, we learn with repetition. And unfortunately, because of our health system, we're conditioned to notice pain and unease. And it's frustrating a little bit, especially when you provide people with a product that allows their body to work better and ease themselves through the pain and they manage it in a way that their body works better. So they don't really notice that they are out of pain or they're going away from pain. They would only notice if they were being numbed or they're feeling dizzy and then they feel the relief, because that's how we've been conditioned. And then the other thing is because this product has anti-inflammatory properties, they it's almost like a placebo effect. It will stop hurting, and then that effect of anti-inflammatory will last long too. So it's almost like they feel like they killed themselves because even later they're not going to feel the pain because they're feeling the effects of the anti-inflammatory as well. Not until they're re-injured and they have a hard pain or a large amount of pain, will they be like, well, let me try that product again. Let me see if it works. And then it's going to still be that cycle. So, like Rich, like many people have said, we have millions of people in the world who want the product. You don't have to chase after something or even help them if they don't want it. It's like, okay, move on, no biggie. But unfortunately, we're just conditioned to look and notice unease because that's how we were. That's how we're wired.
Thank you, Dr. K. I appreciate it. Dr.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Chip, why don't you go ahead and close us out if you don't mind?
Well, Dr. Novella gave me some words I've been searching for because, the way our products work, oftentimes, it's not some shocking effect. I mean, sometimes it is for somebody, but for many people, what she said, the effect of the products is so subtle, and you just start feeling on the good side of normal. You know, if you were hoping for some shocking, drastic thing that you could really notice, but what are you really looking for? You want to have your functionality come back and to feel normal. And I like that. I was looking for a way to say that. It's a very subtle effect, a very welcome effect. It's difficult to adjust to feeling worse all the time. You notice that. When you start feeling better, it's just like having more money come into the account. Well, that's kind of more comfortable. That's kind of a subtle, wonderful little effect of a beanie, right? If it's leaving, well, that's trouble. You're going to notice that. And same way with the products on the health side. I like that. I've been looking for a way to say that, and I like what she said. It's such a subtle effect, just getting to normal. But normal's what you're looking for. So, thank you guys for being interested in what we're doing. And we did specialize on Plus Relief, one of the lead Avini products tonight, and one that's very difficult to imitate by anybody else. I believe we're exclusive in the world. I think Rick has managed to capture every patent that has to do with using alpha toxin to deal with human discomfort. And they are hanging on the walls when you go down there to um, Boca Raton. You can see them proudly displayed. And he takes pride in having, each of our main ingredients is protected in some way. Cell Defender, we hold it proprietary. Don't tell anybody how to do it. Avini Nano Silver, we have an exclusive for network marketing and human use on that product. Plus Relief, we have all the patents and all the snakes. I guess there's other snakes in the world, but we have all the ones that nobody else wants to mess with. That gives you some security. So that gives us some job security, right? Anyway, that's what I got, Christine. Thank you so much, everybody. This is, such an important group. I love Avini vibes and being together, on Thursday nights. Thank you so much for everybody coming. It means everything to me. This is a very special group.
Thank you, Chip. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Again, this is recorded, so go on Avini Health Training if you want to listen again. Listen more than once. You always learn something each time. God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you all November 9th in Boca Raton. Maybe you'll meet a snake. You never know. Anyway, have a blessed time, okay? Good night, everybody.
Been really real.
Good night. Thanks for being here.
Good night, all.
Thank you. Bye.